We're here tonight for a very special celebration and an opportunity to kick off a new ICA initiative. The Black Aesthetic, Black Arts Movement, which started around 1964 when a guy named Leroy Jones came over here. He said, we hear music differently, we see images differently. And I didn't believe it until I began to listen to Miles in a different way. I don't hear Miles the same way other people do. I'm sorry, I just don't. They hear around midnight, I hear Monk, and I hear something else outside. I hear in Palmieri. The Japanese dance to it, white folks dance to it, but when you hear Eddie Palmieri, you hear Congo. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Now, for those of us who don't know this, let me hip you to something. I was talking to some Dominicans about this afternoon. Dominicans are from Guinea in Africa. Look at those little hairs and look at those little faces and tell me you don't see Guinea from Guinea. Cuban black folk are from Nigeria. Get it? They're from Nigeria. So that Yoruba thing that you see was so powerful, it not only affected Cuba, but it went to Brazil. When you go to Brazil, you see the same gods, same African gods you see. It's amazing what had happened with the African slave trade. Puerto Ricans, and this is why we run from blackness so much. Do you know where Puerto Ricans come from? The blackness in us. Right in the middle, right in the middle of Africa, the Congo. And Brazilians are from Angola, that whole Portuguese area. So it's amazing how close we are, and you're absolutely right, bro. Because when you go to Cuba, you see Africans. You see African men. Our next honoree, Stanley Nelson, is an Emmy-winning MacArthur Genius Fellow and is co-founder and executive director of Firelight Media, which provides technical education and professional support to emerging documentarians, and co-founder of the for-profit documentary production company, Firelight Films. His latest films include Freedom Riders, which aired on American Experience in 2011. And this is what I'm very proud of, and Wounded Knee. I often tell people, if you think black folk are going through hell, try South Dakota and the Sioux Nation. You think we're going through some stuff? Check them out. By the way, they're taking their kids right from them, by the way. They take their kids and put them into white homes. Which is part of the landmark series on Native Americans, We Shall Remain, which aired on PBS in 2009. Both films premiered at the Sundance Film Festival in 2010 and 2009, respectively. Stanley is acknowledged as one of the premier documentary filmmakers working today, but Stanley's work has also received broad recognition outside the film and television community. In 2004, he received the Educational Video Center's Excellent in Community Service Award and was honored by New York lawyers in the public interest. His film, Beyond Brown, Pursuing the Promise, has served as a centerpiece for reflection on the 50th anniversary of the Brown versus Board of Education by such organizations as the NAACP, the National Baptist Convention, and the Children's Defense Fund, since airing nationally on PBS in May 2004. Stanley holds, I don't know how he did this and all of the other stuff as well, he holds a BFA in film from the City College of New York. He was a fellow at the American Film Institute and a Revson Fellow at Columbia University, served on the Fulbright Media Fellowship Committee, was a Regents Lecturer at the University of California. He has taught film at Howard University and the Graduate School of Journalism's documentary program at University of California in Berkeley. He served as the Bell Zella Visiting Professor in Public Policy at Brooklyn College and is trained broadcast journalist in Rwanda. Damn. Stanley, you're truly one of Harlem's great treasures, and I'm honored to present you with the ICA Harlem Film and Media Trust Leadership Award. Come on up here, Stanley. The Bad Brother.
Thank you. Thank you all so much. Reading that bio, it made me feel really old. You can do a lot when you're old. I just want to say thank you so much for this award, and you know it means so much. And also to be here on the same night that Pearl got the same award is really special to me. I think that I first talked to Pearl when I was making my first film, $2 in a Dream, about Madam C.J. Walker. I was looking for footage to talk about the theater that they had in Madam Walker's building, and we were looking for some Oscar Michaud films. And somebody said, well, you got to talk to Pearl about it. that's who I talk to. So congratulations, Pearl. It's really good to be here with you. I was actually born in Sydenham Hospital, which was 2 blocks away from here. So, yep, got my tonsils taken out in those old days at Sydenham. And as Cliff said, I've known Cliff for a long time. One of the things, that I guess the thing that really started my career, I also went to City College and went through the film program at City. And when I got out of City College, I was looking for a job, and somebody told me about the community film workshop, and go talk to Cliff. And I went downtown and talked to Cliff. And I think what happened, as I remember it, was that the class they had classes, and the classes had just started. And I was too late to get in the classes, but they had this other hookup with this thing called CETA. Does anybody remember the CETA program? Okay. Anybody tell me what CETA stands for? Oh, there you go. What is it?
Comprehensive Employment and Training Act.
The Comprehensive Employment and Training Act is what it stood for. And for those who are not quite old enough to remember CETA, CETA was this crazy government program. Not crazy, it was this great government program. And what CETA said was that you could get a job doing anything in any industry, and the government would pay you. Now, it wasn't much, it was like $80 a week, that's why I remember it. But that was a lot of money back then, especially if you didn't have any. And they would pay you, you could get a job doing in any industry, anything. And CETA would pay you, but where you got the job had to agree to hire you after this period, after like 6 months or something, in that industry at the regular salary. So my brother actually served as a shellfish warden in Cape Cod under CETA. And Cliff had a hookup with CETA and said, well, you could get in, if you could find somebody to hire you, we could get you through the CETA program. And I went to see a guy named William Greaves. And I'm sure Bill wouldn't mind me talking about him a little bit. I went to see Bill, and I didn't know him at all. What really happened was, I called my mother. Okay, I'm looking for a job, I'm knocking on doors, I called my mother, I said, can I come home for dinner? She said, I just read this article in the Daily News, and they're talking about this black filmmaker named William Greaves. You should go see him. And I looked him up, and I was literally 2 blocks from his office. And this is how things happen. So I was 2 blocks from his office, I went to see Bill, I knocked on his door, I talked to him, he said, oh, I don't have a job for you, get out of here. I said, wait a minute, you can hire me without paying me. And his eyes just lit up. Anybody that knows Bill. His eyes lit up. He was like, oh, I don't have to pay you? I'm like, no, you don't have to pay me. CETA will pay me for 6 months, but then you have to agree to hire me. He said, well, I can't agree to hire you, 6 months. I said, well, Bill, all you have to do is hire me for a day and then fire me the next day. And you can do that. And that's how you can, get me to work for you for nothing for 6 months. He said, okay, you're hired. And that's really how my film career started, through the program with Cliff and through Bill Greaves. So, I owe them both so much. Thank you. Not through yet. I just want to talk a little. So one of the things that my company is doing, Firelight Media, the nonprofit part, is we have a program called the Firelight Media Producers Lab, and it's based on the programs that Cliff was talking about and other programs that existed back then in the 60s and the 70s to get different kinds of people into the film industry and video industry that don't exist anymore. And that was how I got in, and that's how so many other people got in through these government programs, but they don't exist by and large anymore. So about 5 years ago, we decided that we would start the Firelight Media Producers Lab, and we've been amazingly successful. We've had 8 films on PBS in the last year, and these are full-length docs, and these are all by people of color. The vast majority of the people in the lab are women of color, and we have 20 people in the lab at any one time who were kind of shepherding through the system and mentoring, and we hired mentors to work with them to get their films, made and done and on the air. If you guys know anybody that might, be good for the lab, you just have to look at firelightmedia.org and then click on the lab. It gives all the information on the lab. We've just gotten a huge grant, and it is huge, from Corporation for Public Broadcasting to keep going for the next 3 years. So, yeah. So the lab will be going for at least the next 3 years. When we started the lab, with kind of, it was a leap of faith, and there were two principles, two things that I thought. One was that there were great filmmakers of color around with projects who needed help, and that's proved to be true. We've had great filmmakers. We did a film called Homegoings. Anybody know that film about Owen's funeral home around the corner, and a bunch of other films. But we found great filmmakers, and then the second leap of faith was that there's actually funding to be had to do this kind of work. And we've been able, luckily we've been able to find enough money to kind of keep going. So we're doing that, and I want to just talk real quick about the films that I'm working on. So we're just finishing up a film on the Black Panther Party, which we just locked picture last week, and that will be done around the first of the year. We're hoping that the film will be at Sundance. Please look for it. If you guys have any ideas or any thoughts about it, let me know. I'll be around. The film is called The Black Panthers Vanguard of the Revolution. We did interview Felipe for the film, and he says some great things about Eldridge Cleaver.
Yes. Crazy.
Yeah. So anyway, that's film. It's funny because some of the things we're working on were mentioned, and the next film we're doing, and these films are all partially funded. So we're doing a film on the history of historic Black colleges and universities, 2-hour film for PBS, which is fully funded, and then we're working on a 4-hour film on the Atlantic slave trade and the business of trading in human beings and how that kind of changed the world in so many ways. So I'm looking forward to working on all those projects. But again, thank you all so much. It means so much to, any award, look, any award means a lot, but to be honored by your own community and honored by so many people here who I've known for so long, in so many different ways, in so many different lives that I've had here in Harlem, means so much. So thank you all again. It's a real honor.